Hi babies, so I'm back with another video. My name is Sydney. If you are new here, if you have been here, hey, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, let me just do a disclaimer right out of the gate. We're gonna be talking about sex, okay? We're gonna be talking about rape. We're going to be talking about sexual assault. We're going to be talking about incest. We're going to be talking about everything that kind of has to do with that. Because April was Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And I think it's very important to bring awareness to it. If people don't know, I have some statistics, but I just wanted to get that out of the way just in case. I would never want a video that I'm doing to be triggering to somebody, or if you just aren't there yet with hearing people just say the word. I know it's very, very difficult if you're just not there yet. So that is my little disclaimer. So now let's get on to the video. This video is going to be harsh, okay? I am warning those of you, this is not a minor video. Even though it does happen to minors, I just want to get it out of the way that this is a very adult conversation. Do not get in my comments bashing people. Do not do any of that like immature BS, okay? Because this is a very serious video, but I don't want it to be like a downer video. I want it to be very informative, very educational, so let's just jump right into it. I also have my laptop right here for you guys, so I'm gonna be looking at it just to share some statistics that I wrote down for you guys. And yeah, so I'm not sure if many of you know, if you know me in person, then you know that I am a serial sexual assault survivor, which is one of the reasons why I'm very, very like, I take no prisoners when it comes to videos like this or topics like this at all. It is something that has affected me for my entire life, that still affects me. And so if you have anything childish to say, if you're gonna bash women for what they wear or where they are at 3 a.m., it's none of your business. They're grown women and they shouldn't be assaulted, period, but they definitely shouldn't be assaulted and then have to come to Twitter or Instagram or YouTube and hear idiots talking about, well, it was dark, why were you out? No, why did he rape her? Period. Why did she rape him? Period. It's no. Okay? So if you think like that, go ahead and exit, unsubscribe, block me on everything. Now. I'll give you a minute. So now that them bozos are gone, let's get into this chat, okay? I have my sweatpants on. We in a sweatshirt. We're real comfortable. And let's just chat about it. Let's just have a very real conversation. And here we go. Okay, so as many of you know, like I said a couple minutes ago, April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. April 2020, what just passed, was their 19th anniversary, so that's really cool. So now I'm just going to get to the statistics. All of these statistics are from 2015, and then I'll let you know the ones that are more recent. So nearly 1 in 5 women, and that's about 18.3%, and 1 in 71 men, which is 1 in 4%, in the United States have been raped at some point in their lives. Nearly 80% of women experience their first rape before the age of 25. 42% experience their first rape before the age of 18. And nearly 30% of men experience their first rape when they were 10 or younger. So I want to go back to the nearly 30% of men experience their first rape when they were 10 or younger. That percent to me before the age of 10 stood out to me so much because a lot of times you see men not wanting to share that type of trauma in their lives because they feel like it makes them less manly, which is understandable. That's something that I feel like men anymore nowadays and forever, like men everywhere at all times, for generations and centuries and whatever, they've always wanted to be seen as manly providers, protectors, things of that nature. And I feel like when men feel like they're inadequate or they can't protect or they couldn't protect themselves, let alone other people, it starts to make them feel some type of way. And it's understandable, but to the men out there that have gone through some sort of sexual assault, it's not rare, okay? It's not rare at all. I feel like there's definitely a double standard when it comes to sexual assault. I feel like a lot of women think that their forwardness is not sexual assault, and it is. Grabbing men's butts that you don't know, grabbing their genitals, I don't know what women do, like touching their chest area. Like, I've never done any of those things. But doing something like that where you invade somebody's privacy is not okay. Doing something without their consent, whether it be just poking them. Like, it's not, like, don't touch people anyway. I mean, we're in the middle of a pandemic anyway, so you're not supposed to be touching people anyway. But even if we weren't, if somebody's not familiar with you, and even if they are familiar with you, making sure that you set up boundaries of what consent is very important. And I say that specifically to men and to women about men, because a lot of times it can be very, not confusing, but I think assumptions are made of what men want and what's okay to do for a man that would not be okay to do for women, and those type of double standards are just not okay. These are statistics about college campuses, and I was sexually assaulted on a college campus. I was sexually assaulted twice, and I was set up once. So if you want, I can go deeper into that later on, but just give me a minute. So 20% to 25% of college women and 15% of college men are victims of forced sex during their time in college. More than 90% of sexual assault victims on college campuses do not report the assault. Now, I want to stop there because I think it's very alarming that number, that percent is so high. And here's why, because I've heard it all before. I was sexually assaulted by somebody that was very popular, and it was scary, number one, for me, because I would watch TV shows and movies about these like dudes that would sexually assault girls that were popular. They were on the football team, they were on the baseball team, they were on the basketball team, they were on the checkers team. I don't know, they were just they were popular in the school. They were very well known, and in all of the movies and all of the TV shows I've ever watched, it was always the girl going up not only against the guy that was popular, but then everybody else, because he wouldn't do that. He's popular. Why does he need to touch you? He's too cute. He doesn't need to rape anybody. No, I don't believe you. Well, did you ask? You probably asked for it, and then you wanted to say no. And I've heard everything on TV shows. Now, it might not be the best thing to go based off of TV shows, but I can tell you, for me, that was something that scared me so much, because I was like, okay, number one, I know that I'm going to be going up against him and the college. Everybody, because he's so popular, he's so well known, and therefore why he could have all the girls he wanted, why would he choose you? I was so afraid of even saying anything, because I knew that's what the backlash would be, and so I didn't say anything. Which a lot of people that I've heard of have, that on like Twitter and stuff, they've said the same thing. You have women and men on college campuses that are sexually assaulted. For the women, it's either the guy is popular, he's very well known, he's really cute, he's a very attractive young man, he doesn't need to do that. And I want to stop right there. Rape, sexual assault, look at me. Rape and sexual assault is never about how cute you are. It's never about what skirt you're wearing, what t-shirt you're wearing. Do you have on a bra? Do you have on underwear? Your heels are too high. It's about power, period. That's it. That's all. It's not about like, and I'm getting like so upset, but it's never about anything but the other person and their problem and their power. And the fact that they feel like they can overpower you, and so they're going to. It's never about heels, sweatpants, for men specifically. Oh, she saw the print in your sweatpants, and so that's what made her want to do that to you. No. Oh, well, even though you were specifically to myself is what I've heard, because the incident in which the day that the incident occurred, I was dressed like I am today. I was in sweatpants, I was in a baggy hoodie, I had Ugg boots on, my hair was in a bun, I didn't have makeup on, and I heard, oh, well, you don't always dress like that. Sometimes you dress a little slutty, and so he was looking at how you dressed previously and just assumed. I'm not lying. That's literally what somebody told me. It is never about what you're wearing. It's never about your reputation. It's never about what you were previously wearing. It's never about what you wore last week. It's never about what you wore to dinner. It's never about what time you were out. It's not about where you were. Nothing. It's about them. So don't ever let anybody tell you or slut shame you or victim blame you into believing that you had anything to do with your sexual assault. Let me relax, because I get really, really upset when people say stuff like that. So based on correlating multiple data sources, RAINN, which is Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, estimates that for, now this is specifically, I saw on Twitter last night, couple nights ago, this guy, and if I can find the tweet, I'm gonna insert it. There are all the women that, like, why don't women report their rapes to the police instead of coming on Twitter and whining about it? And I hope you have a confused look on your face, just like I had a confused look on my face. Because what human in their right mind says things like that? I don't know. I'm pretty sure he was on some type of drug, but I digress. So this is for people who think like that. Every 1,000 rapes, 383 are reported. Now that's a lot. That's a pretty good amount. Okay, 384 rapists are going to jail. Awesome. But it continues. 57 result in an arrest. 57 out of 1,000. 57 out of 384. 11 are referred to prosecution. 7 result in a felony conviction. And only 6 result in incarceration. Only 6 out of 384. So the next time you idiots even think to utter out of your unwashed mouth, oh, why don't you just report it to the police? Not saying that you shouldn't, but when you're reporting things to the police and 384 rapists are being reported and only 6 of those disgusting criminals are going to jail? Yeah, right? Right. So, now that we're done with those statistics, I'm going to dive into some stories and just a little bit of just different things that I want you guys to know. Those statistics, I'm so sorry. Those statistics really had me heated, because if you are a sexual assault survivor, let alone a serial sexual assault survivor, the amount of of these numbers should not be that big, and I want to cry, but more people should feel safe. Less people should be rapists. Less people should be disgusting. And more people should feel safe in their everyday lives, and let alone on college campuses. Why am I paying over $30,000 a year for me to report my rape to campus police for them to do nothing? Why do I not feel safe on my own campus? I should not have to walk through campus with a taser, a knife, a gun, mace, just so I can feel safe walking to my dorm. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that all of these colleges want you to invest, and then when you're an alumni, want you to come back and invest your hard-earned money when you don't even feel safe walking from dorm to dorm, from dorm to CAF, from dorm to across the street. It's ridiculous. Nobody should feel like that ever. Ever, ever. Never. Not in life, not on college campuses, not in your own home, nowhere. Not at your job, not at your school, nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. So that has me a little bit heated, but we're gonna relax a little bit, and I'm gonna jump into my next segment, okay? So, I just wanted to let you guys know, I'm gonna put it in the description box below, but there is a hotline for rape victims and sexual assault victims, and that is 800-656-4673. We'll put it in the description box below, along with the organization's website that you can get more information from, and that is nsvrc.org. So, I want to talk to you guys because on their website, it talks about all types of sexual assault and consent and what you can do, and I took a little bit from their website and a little bit from my own experience, and I'm just going to share with you guys what consent is, what it means, when to do it, how to do it, just in case you guys are confused. I know a lot of times consent can be confusing, and I'll explain that a little bit later. Different types of rape, because I know a lot of times, especially for me and other people that I've specifically talked to that are my friends, when you go through something like that, it's very hard to wrap your mind around it, and guilt kind of comes into it because of just so many things surrounding the situation. So we're going to talk about that, and then I'm going to talk about finally what to do if somebody comes to you and tells you that they're a sexual assault victim and what to do. So first, we're going to talk about consent. So consent is asking if things are okay. Consent is, hey, can I touch your hair? Consent is very simple. A lot of times people can think consent and they think automatically sex. Consent can be a various just amount of things. Consent is when your hair is in an afro and some lady wants to touch it and she asks, hey, do you mind if I touch your hair? It's up to you then to say yes or no, but that's what consent is. Consent outside of sex is hey, you have something on your shirt, do you mind if I get it for you? Because you don't want them to feel like you're trying to touch them or anything like that. Consent is, hey, you know, you have something on your face, do you mind if I just get it off? You have something in your hair, you have something on your pants, oh, can I just brush, like you sat in something, can I brush your butt off for you? That's simple consent. Consent when it comes to sex is, do you want to have sex? Do you want to have sex with me? Do you want to have sex in this place? Do you not want to have sex in this place? Are you comfortable with having sex with me? Do you feel pressured into having sex with me? Do you feel like I'm pressuring you? I don't want to make you feel pressured. What positions do you feel comfortable in? If I do this, and explicitly, because I told y'all this was an adult conversation, we're gonna get explicit, okay? Can I choke you? Do you feel okay with being choked? How hard do you want to be choked? Is this too hard? Are you feeling, can you still breathe? Do you want me to let go? Do we need to stop so that you can take a breather? For somebody that has been through sexual assault, that is currently going to therapy for sexual assault, that has a boyfriend that is into explicit, people, okay? We're being explicit, just so you know, because I don't want anybody to be like, oh my gosh, that came out of nowhere. For somebody that is into rougher sex, my boyfriend and I have to have conversations when we first started being sexually active with each other about what was okay for him to do and what was not okay for him to do. And is it okay to do this? And would you like me to do this instead? And am I being too rough? Do you need a break? Are you okay? Things like that make somebody feel so comfortable. And it's so much better to stop when you feel like they're uncomfortable, or when they give you different body signs, and be like, are you okay? Like, do I need to stop? Are you uncomfortable? Do you want water? Do you want to take a break? Do you want to come back and do it again? Just asking simple questions number one, it makes the person feel safe around you. And that is the number one, I feel like the number one point to consent, is to make sure the person feels safe. If you are not making sure the person feels safe, you must ask yourself, why are you having sex with the person if you don't want them to feel safe around you? Like, why are you engaging in sex if you don't feel comfortable around them? That's something that you have to ask yourself. And it's just really, really simple questions, you guys. It doesn't have to be this extravagant 5-page thesis on consent of what they're okay with. It can be little questions. Do you like when I do this? Is this okay if I do this? Can I do this now? Are you comfortable with whatever you're doing? Whether it be choking, or I know some people are into rougher sex, and that includes slapping, or now we're explicit, okay? Spitting in somebody's mouth, anything like that. You want to make sure that you are making sure they feel safe. If you are using toys and you want to experiment, if you are in a very experimental relationship, which I am in a very, very experimental relationship when it comes to all assets of our life, but specifically for this video, sexual experimentation, and you want to experiment with sensory deprivation, or you want to experiment with with toys or with food or anything like that, just asking them if they're okay before you do it, not as you're doing it, before you engage in that action. You're not choking them, be like, is this all right? No. Ask them, hey, like, and I understand that sometimes people are like, well, that's not sexy. It doesn't sound sexy. Moan a little bit. It'll sound sexy. Like, just do what you have to do, but make sure that the person feels safe. Make sure that you feel safe around the person, whether it be men or whether it be women, wow. Just make sure that you feel safe around your partner. Or if you are non-binary, because I know, like, I don't want anybody to feel like they are excluded on my channel. Men, women, non-binary, lesbian, gay, this is to everybody. You want to make sure that you are comfortable around your partner, and that you're comfortable with them doing certain things, and that they're comfortable doing certain things to you. One of the things I do want to point out is the fact that I'm a very experimental person, and with my last relationship, he wasn't comfortable doing certain things with me, to me. And that was fine. Like, once I asked him to do something and he was like, I don't really want to do that to you. It wasn't, I didn't guilt him into it. I didn't try to talk him into it. I said, oh, okay, I knew that was something that I liked, but if he didn't want to do it, there's no forcing him into doing that. you compromise. If somebody wants to be choked, but you are not okay with choking them for whatever reason, because you don't want to be too rough, or because you don't get it, or whatever the reason is, be comfortable with saying no. Be comfortable with saying, I don't really want to do that. And also be comfortable with being a little freak, okay? Like, be comfortable with being into BDSM. Be comfortable into being into hardcore things. But be comfortable into, like, more vanilla sex as well. Because we are an all-inclusive channel over here, okay? So, don't assume. I had that written down in bold. I know a lot of times, one thing that irritates me is the fact that on Twitter, more specifically, women will post something about, like, giving oral or wanting to receive oral, or posting, like, nudes, or posting themselves in, like, short shorts or a bralette, or, like, panties and bras or bikinis or whatever. And that's not the part that annoys me. The part that annoys me is the men that are like, well, you post things like that, and then I'm in your DM asking to put it down your esophagus, and you said no to me. What does her posting have to do with that, sir? Ma'am? What? What does it have to do with it? She is an adult. She can post what she wants, but she can also say no to you. Don't assume that, sometimes I think people assume that because girls like to be handcuffed, or because girls like to be choked, that they also like to be slapped, or because they like to be slapped, that they like to be choked, or that they like somebody to spit in their mouth, or that they like sensory deprivation, or they like whatever, using toys and all this. Ask them first, and don't ask with an expectation. If I can stress anything from the consent, is don't ask with an expectation. Ask them out of sincerity. Ask them because you truly want to know. Don't ask and with, like, a kind of, like, a guilty kind of wanting to push them into it, like, do you mind if I do that? Like, because I kind of want to, but it's up to you, you know? Like, I really would love to do that, but at the end of the day, I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. It would really turn me on, like, so much, but it's all about you. Don't do that. That is so gaslighty, and that is so disgusting, all right? So the next thing is a harder, we're going into a little bit of a hard section, so just beware. I'm going to talk about the different types of rape. I think that's when a lot of confusion about if you were really raped. I remember a long time ago, I'm not going to say any names, I'm not going to say any schools or anything like that, because I'm not sure if she is comfortable with it. I'm not sure if she's going to a therapist or not, and so I don't want to put anybody on blast. But I had one of my friends call me and ask and tell me that she thinks she got raped, but she didn't know. And because she knew that I was a serial sexual assault survivor, she wanted to ask me, because of course I have experience with the whole guilt thing, with the whole not knowing, with the confusion, with all of that. And so she called me and we talked about it, and at the end of the day, she did get raped. She was sexually assaulted, but it was confusing because so many people assume that there is this one central idea to rape, and that is having a gun to your head, having a knife to your throat, being tied up, somebody is threatening you, threatening your family. It's hard, it's forced, it's them putting their hand over your mouth, it's them holding you forcefully down, it's them and or other people in a group environment holding you down while they take turns on you. A lot of times it is not forced like that. A lot of times it is coercion. A lot of times it's guilting. A lot of times it's when you don't consent to certain things. And I think that men and women who are rapists teeter the line so that they can say, oh, well, I didn't know that you didn't want to do that. Oh, I wasn't aware. Well, you said yes to me. I didn't know that you didn't want me to do that. And so and it's very manipulative the way that they kind of are on the fence when it comes to knowing exactly what to do, so that they themselves don't necessarily they're not necessarily at fault. And so one of the many ways that a man or a woman can rape a person is by talking them into it or by guilting them into it. One of the times that I was sexually assaulted was I was talked in, I was guilted, if it's not consensual, if a person in general does not say, yes, I want you to do this to me, if you have to talk them into it, and one of the tactics is manipulation. It is, well, you're already here. Well, you're such a tease. Well, it can be anything. It can be, well, you said yes the other day, so I don't understand why you're not in the mood. Well, you dressed like that, so I just figured you wanted some. Well, I've heard everything. Well, you're here, like, we're already here, like, you might as well. So that is definitely a way that somebody can sexually assault you, or that you can sexually assault somebody. So don't talk anybody into it. If they are not saying yes to you, yes to switching positions, giving you the proper body language of they want to be there, they want you inside of them, or you want them inside of you. That was confusing. Then don't try to talk them into it. Don't try to guilt them into it. Don't be a manipulative DICK. Just don't. All right? Don't do it, because that's wrong and you should feel really bad about yourself. So another thing that is mind-blowing to me is the fact that people do this. I didn't hear about it realistically, until college. So I know my dad told me before I went to college that men are doing this thing called ghosting, I think it is. I forget what he called it, but that was also like 3 or 4 years ago. And it's basically when men specifically, now I'm not sure if this counts for women using a strap-on, I'm not sure, but I was told that it's men, when they are having sex with you when you consent to using a condom, and they take the condom off and they continue to, without your knowledge, and they continue to have sex with you. I don't know if somebody knows if that counts with like women on women when they're using toys, or women on men when they're using a toy. Please let me know, because I'm not sure, and I don't want to like generalize or anything, and I don't want anybody to feel like I'm leaving them out or I'm not giving proper information or anything like that. So please let me know if you do know, or share your opinion down in the comments below. I was really, really surprised that that was a thing, because at first, honestly, I was like, okay, Dad, like, you're being a dad, like, you're being a father, like, nobody's gonna do that, that's totally ridiculous, like, whatever. And on Twitter, mainly Twitter, because it's more of a talkative platform, within the last couple of, like, weeks, but women have been sharing their stories about how men have been taking off condoms and saying that it broke. Oh, I thought that you will, that is rape. Period, point blank. Period, point blank, it's rape. When you do something during sex, before sex, or after sex that the person does not specifically consent to, you are raping them. And that might be harsh, but just don't rape people. Like, just don't. Like, I don't understand why, like, that is such a like, weird thing to understand. Don't freaking rape people. Anyone. Anything. Because I know, like, people like to have sex with animals. Don't do it. Like, y'all are really, like, getting on my nerves at this point, because people have been explaining to you since this has been a thing, since I've been seeing that it's been a thing on Twitter and on Instagram, about what consent means and what rape is, and all of these different avenues for women and men to get help, because people are traumatizing them. And then these trolls, because that's really all they are, these trolls on Twitter are like, well, she shouldn't have been out. Well, he shouldn't have been wearing them sweatpants. He shouldn't have been, his print was out. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, you rapist. It doesn't matter. You predator. It doesn't matter. I get, like, entirely too heated. But I feel like it's a good heated. Another thing is what I've seen, what I went through, and what my friend that I spoke about previously went through. Oh shoot, I'm so sorry. Is not consenting to other people being there. Now, specifically for me, this is when I spoke about earlier about being set up. And then for her, you consent, what it is you consent to having sex with person A. You and person A are having sex, and they feel bold enough to bring a person B without your knowledge that is then going to have sex with you. And 9 times out of 10, I know when it happened to me, I was under the influence of 2 intoxicants. I don't know if that's a word. And when it happened to my friend, she was under the influence, and so that's when it gets a little bit gray and a little bit confusing for a lot of sexual assault victims. No, it's never your fault. It's not because you're drunk. It's not because you're high. It's not because you're on Molly. It's not because you're on LSD. It's not because you're on shrooms. It's not because you're on coke. It's not because you're on crack. It's not because you're on heroin. It's not because you're on meth. It's not because you're drinking water. It's them. They're disgusting little pigs. That's it. No. Mm-hmm. If a person does not specifically say, I want this threesome, I want this foursome, I want person A and person B, I want person C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. If you want an orgy, if a person does not specifically set up those things, they don't want it. What is wrong with y'all? What? If a person doesn't say to you, I'm okay with you having your friend, like, in the same room as us, doing certain things to me as well. If a person does not say that, what in y'all right minds makes y'all think that the person wants it? So those are I just gave you 3 that I could think of off the top of my head. If there's any more that you can think of that you want me to include in another video later on, I can do that for you guys. But yeah, those are just my 3 that I can think of. So finally, we're going to talk about what you do when a person comes to you and tells you or asks you, have they been sexually assaulted, and explains the situation. This is something that happened to me that, this is something that happened to me, and it was with my friend that I had mentioned before. She told me what happened, and I asked her questions, and they weren't, if somebody comes to you, do not ask them what they were wearing. Oh my God, if you do that, I'm gonna specifically come to your house and punch you in the throat. Don't ask them what they were wearing, how short their shorts were, how intoxicated they were. Well, how late were you out? Did you go home with so-and-so? Well, where were you? Well, did you know the person? Well, why did you not buckle your seatbelt at 10 o'clock and put your hands at 10 and 2 and drive the car down the left side of the road? Don't ask them those ignorant questions. Don't do it. And if somebody asks you that, I, Sydney Janae Gordon, am giving you the right, the authority, I'm giving it to you to mollywop them. To just, I'm so playing. Please don't assault anybody. Please do not assault anybody. I'm just joking. I specifically am gonna punch people in the throat, but you don't. I will, but you don't. Don't do it. We need you at home for the quarantine, not in jail, okay? Don't ask them questions of what they were wearing or how short their dress was or how short their shorts were or how short their skirt was or how did they have on a crop top? Were you wearing like appropriate? Were you... The one word among many that I hate is promiscuous. I hate that word. I want to cut the tongues of people who say women dress promiscuous. She's dressing skimpy, promiscuous. Ugh, I can't stand people who say that about women because it's mainly about women or non-binaries. I can't stand it. It's disgusting. Shut up. Don't ever, if you're gonna follow me on this YouTube channel, you better not ever say that no woman is dressing promiscuously. She's dressing her style, and you're a hater. How about that? How about that? You're a hater. Don't be a hater. Don't say the word promiscuous. Don't say skimpy, because I feel like it's time to like take the power that like the patriarchy has used against women. So that's the type of stuff that, but if you're calling another woman like slutty or a whore in a negative way, then you just need to really get your life. Like, why are you so worried about like the next woman and what she's wearing? That's a disease. That is the issue, and that's a problem. And I need you to seek a therapist. Go call your therapist. Go make an appointment because you need help. You do. So don't ask stupid questions. Number 2 is turn them to a therapist. Not just any therapist, okay? Turn them to a therapist that specializes in sexual assault. I'm going to a therapist that specifically specializes in sexual assault because she was also sexually assaulted. And so she's trained in that field, and you need somebody that is trained in that field to help you, okay? The next thing is encourage them to tell their story. I'm gonna be honest with you, when I first came out and said that I was sexually assaulted, it was very hard to do so. I had a lot of people tell me that I was lying. I had a lot of people ask me what I was wearing. I've had a lot of people tell me a lot of everything, okay? But as you unapologetically tell your story of what happened to you and take no prisoners of the story and what happened and the incident or the assault, whatever you want to call it, I feel like specifically for me and for other women that I've specifically seen, including my therapist, as you start telling your story and being honest with yourself and being honest with other people, it helps. Not only does it help you, but it helps other women just like you. If you follow me on Twitter, you know I'm very vocal about sexual assault and women and men that are rapists and that they are disgusting. And if you also follow me on my Facebook, you are very aware of the fact that I talk a lot about the president that is a rapist, and the fact that R. Kelly, and he's a rapist, and Bill Cosby, and he's a rapist, and Weinstein, and he's a rapist. I talk about everything when it comes to sexual assault, and I take no prisoners because I don't care what you have to say about it. The truth is the truth, and sometimes the truth hurts. And if you don't want your celebrities to be outed, maybe tell them to stop being disgusting rapists. And the more that you are vocal about things like that, and the more that you tell your own story, I don't know, I've never had anybody say, hey Sydney, because you shared your story, I am more comfortable sharing my story. I've never had anybody say that to me. However, I would like to feel that maybe sometime along the way, and maybe with this video right here, I make more people comfortable with sharing their story on multiple platforms. One thing that I would say along with sharing your story is it sucks, but honestly, expect backlash. You are gonna have men and women that, you know, are gonna say, well, they're gonna question you, they're gonna tell you that you're lying, they're gonna, you know, tell you that, oh, you don't need to share that, you need to keep that to yourself. I've heard it all, okay? Sad to say, but I have. So just kind of expect it. It's sad. I wish it wasn't like that, but you kind of just have to take the punches as they go. So, and the last thing is reassure them that it's not their fault and that they are not a bad person. And make sure that they know that it's not their fault. Please, for the love of God, tell them it doesn't matter what you were doing. If you were twerking in the club and your skirt rode up, if you were drinking heavily, if you were smoking heavily, if you were on Molly or whatever drugs, whatever they were on, if they were intoxicated, it is not your fault. It is not. Somebody intoxicated is not an excuse to rape them or to sexually assault them. It's not an excuse, even if you aren't necessarily sexually assaulting them, it's not an excuse to take advantage of them, to tell them, and I've seen people do this, to tell them, oh, you remember the other day I gave you 20, you owe me 20, and them in their intoxicated state, and they want to be kind of like, just, oh, let me just get this over with here so I can go back to partying. It's never okay to take advantage of somebody. It's never okay to spike somebody's drink. That happens a lot. I've seen that whole like date rape thing a lot, and I've heard people kind of blame themselves for being too friendly and taking the drink, or for being, oh, I was so stupid, why did I take that drink from him? No, it's never your fault. It's always the person's fault that did it. Don't ever feel like you're a bad person. The person that did that to you is a bad person. And if you're out here doing that to people, you're a bad person, and I need you to go to your local police station and turn yourself in. Or I need you, we're gonna leave it there. Because what I was about to say next, it's not YouTube friendly. And it's not becoming of me. So we're gonna leave it there. But yeah, so that was the video, you guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know it was a relatively hard topic, but I feel like the more and more we talk about it, the more it'll become a softer topic, and it'll be kind of okay for people to talk about and not get bashed for it. So I am uploading and editing so many videos for you guys. I am recording so many videos because I am in the process of moving, and when I get those breaks in between calling my school and setting up financial aid and filling out my FAFSA and all of those other things, and I still have to finish classes at my school in New Jersey, and if you know anything, I am in North Carolina. I'm transferring down here, moving down here, and so that entire process is tiring, girl. But I'm trying, you guys. I am trying to take this YouTube stuff seriously because it is really important to me to do so. The next video that I'm going to record is a mental health video for May, which is Mental Health Awareness. It is May 2nd today. I know the video I just did was about April, but you win some, you lose some, okay? I just wanted to make sure this video went up sometime as soon as possible. So you'll see this video first. The next video I'm gonna record for you guys is gonna be a Mental Health Awareness Month video. I'm really excited for that. I have a lot of stories to share with you guys. I have a lot of statistics to share with you guys. And as always, be the positivity that you wanna see in this world. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for sitting through this dire video. I know I'm a talkative little banshee, but I just appreciate you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because we're being positive this month and next month and the month after that and the month after that. So